Hello, and welcome to the Valley. Today, I am your host, Janet Michael. Today, we are talking about the Walk to End Alzheimer's that's happening on Saturday, November 1st at the MSV. Ironically enough, Julie Arnold was just on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about all the cool fun things that are happening at the MSV. Emily Rankin is joining me. She is the development manager for the National Capital Area chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Shalini is on the Zooms with us as well. While she would be perfectly happy if I just said, oh, she's a volunteer. She's been a volunteer for several years now for the Alzheimer's Association. She is actually the chair of the executive leadership team for our local Alzheimer's group. So thank you, ladies, for taking some time today to give me some information about the walk, to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us, Janet.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Emily, let me start with you. For someone who had no idea that the Alzheimer's Association even existed, who are you? What do you do? Give me some background.
I am part of the development team for the Alzheimer's Association. Our association is a national nonprofit. We help support the 7 million people that are living with Alzheimer's or dementia. But we don't only support them, we also support the 13 million caregivers and the family members that have stepped up to take care of their loved ones. We have support groups all over the nation, not only in person, but through Zoom, phone calls, and just any way to connect. We also are the third largest supporter in the world of Alzheimer's research. So really proud of that. We also have a 24-hour helpline that anyone can call at any time that have medical professionals answering. So we really just want to support those people, but also look forward to the future of the research that we're putting in.
I've seen a lot in the news recently that there is potentially an end to Alzheimer's, even maybe in my lifetime. It is not an unreachable target.
Right. The research is truly groundbreaking because of the funds that we're raising and the ability for them to continue to keep the lights on for these research centers is just so important, from early prevention and detection through genetic testing and infusion treatments. We are in the era of hope. And like you mentioned, in our lifetime, hopefully we will see that treatment and the end to it.
Doing fundraisers that are also awareness activities like the Walk to End Alzheimer's are great because they serve both of those purposes. They do raise funds to support all of the things that your mission requires, but they also are awareness events for people to learn a little bit more. I feel like Alzheimer's is one of the most misunderstood diseases that are out there. People think they know what it is, but they're not always right or 100% on target.
Yeah, they're not quite sure. And then there's also dementia. I love the Alzheimer's Association they trained me to be a community educator. If anyone is interested in that, it's available. But it's been really cool to learn about dementia also, which is the umbrella for all brain related diseases and issues. So Alzheimer's actually falls under that, and the Alzheimer's Association and the Walk to End Alzheimer's raises funds for all types of dementia.
How did you get involved with the Alzheimer's Association? Tell me your story.
I actually had a job in community outreach. And so my job was to reach out to different organizations, and the Alzheimer's Association happened to be on my list. I didn't even know what they did besides the name. I didn't know how deep they actually went. So I showed up as a participant, and that first walk, I fell in love because I got to see the hope and where the funds were actually going, what it was going to, the support to caregivers. And I'm still here. They can't get rid of me.
We're so thankful for all that she's done, really the boots on the ground, but also connecting these amazing companies this year. We've surpassed our goal with sponsorships with companies. If anyone still wants to get involved and get their company involved, there's definitely still time. And she's done an amazing job, and we're so lucky to have her.
The walk in Winchester is happening on Saturday, November 1st, but there are walks all across the country. You mentioned earlier that you're a national organization. So if somebody even is listening, and strangely enough, I have listeners in like Oregon and California. I'm not sure why, but if you're listening today, thank you. There is probably a walk in their neighborhood as well.
If you go onto the Alzheimer's Association Walk website, just type in your zip code. It's super quick and you can find the closest one to you.
Tell me some details about the walk that you're hosting here on the 1st of November. Do I have to register? Do I need a team? Give me some of the basics.
Okay, so you can, and this is for all of the walks that the Alzheimer's Association hosts. You can do an easy Google search, walk to end Alzheimer's, and then your area, and it'll show you your nearest walk. So for our Winchester Northern Shenandoah walk, you're gonna go online, do your Google search, and you can either register for free as a participant. It'll give you the option to start a team if you want to be a team captain. And again, that's totally free. You can start a team with your work, with your block. I have a cul-de-sac team and a work team. I'm actually on two. You can do that if you want. I'm just a little crazy. So you sign up, it's totally free. You get that link to start fundraising. Another option is to register at the walk on the day. I would advise pre-register so you can skip that line. If you want to register at the walk, registration is 9 a.m. And then we start our ceremony at 10, the flower garden ceremony. And this is the most special part of the walk. I don't know if you want to get into that after the break or if I should talk about it now.
Yeah, let's lead back in with
Okay.
that after the break. So tell me the web address where people can go during the break to do a little research and maybe even sign themselves up during commercial.
alz.org/NSV.
Let's take a break. We can get in the weeds, no pun intended, on the flower garden ceremony when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Today's show is all about the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It is happening on Saturday, November 1st at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. We are talking today with Emily Rankin. She is the development manager for the National Capital Area chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Shalini is joining us as well. She has been a longtime volunteer of the organization, and you're kind of the Alzheimer's spokesperson, aren't you, Shalini, for our area? Like anybody in Winchester that says anything about Alzheimer's, you're the name that they say, oh, call her because she knows what's going on and she can connect you with somebody.
I feel like I'm the community face of Alzheimer's support and all forms of dementia.
And that's not a terrible thing.
It's not a terrible thing as long as I'm a face for support.
Before we went to break, you were about to walk us through what that day looks like. So let's say I've already registered. I've already done all of my things that I needed to do online. So what time do I show up at the MSV that day? And then what happens?
From 9 to 10, that's when we're just gathering. The ceremony is at 10, but before that time, you can visit our sponsors, our vendors. We have some excellent activities for the children. We do face painting. This is dog friendly. Last year we had little doggy capes, water bowls. Our champions, that's our volunteers and participants that have raised over $500. We do a really special thing for them. We're going to have the Winchester Sheriff Foundation out this year. So there'll be some local people that it'll be really awesome for you to connect with. All right, so now we're getting into the weeds, as you said before we went to break. The ceremony is actually called the Flower Garden Ceremony, which starts at 10 o'clock. Before that, you're going to go to a table and choose your flower. Each flower represents a different stage of where you might be, what brought you to the walk. So it could be that this is just a cause that is really close to your heart, something that you want to support. Maybe you're caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia. Or maybe you have Alzheimer's or dementia, or maybe you lost someone with Alzheimer's or dementia. So this is the time when you get to reflect and pick your flower. Each flower is a different color. So you'll see as we get to 10 o'clock, our area starts filling up and everyone is holding a flower. The kids, the adults, you can start feeling the anticipation and the hope starts really building. At 10 o'clock, the ceremony starts. We have some words from our national presenting sponsor, and then it begins. It's really an awesome time to get some updates from the Alzheimer's Association. We talk about the advancements that the funds raised is going to. We talk about what we're hoping for in the future, our current support groups, resources that are out there for the families. And at this time, everyone's listening and people start looking around. This is what my favorite part is people start realizing that they're not alone in their journey, that everyone around them is going through a similar walk. And not just in the actual walk where we're getting our steps in, but it's what we're going through in life. So then during the ceremony, we start having people raise their flowers one by one by what part of journey that they are in. At the end, everyone's got their arms up. Everyone is raising a flower. It's just really the most beautiful moment ever. Like I said, this is what hooked me to this walk and made me their number one volunteer and supporter, because honestly, I was in that caregiving journey. I was a caregiver for both my dad and my mother-in-law. My dad passed from dementia and my mother-in-law was Alzheimer's. And I did that all by myself. I didn't realize that there was other people when I was going through it. I felt like I had to keep it to myself and just keep a brave face. So this is the moment where the mask gets to come down and you realize that you're not alone, and you can see people start smiling, but yet tears are rolling down their faces. It's just the coolest moment in the world. And then we have a really special surprise, and that's the white flower. And the white flower represents hope for a cure. That's when the crowd just goes wild. And then the walk starts. Walk begins at 10:30. It's a really great trail. We make sure that it's accessible for walkers or wheelchairs, but really, if you're feeling the moment, you can just stay right there in that moment and you don't even have to walk. But it's beautiful because the museum has a wonderful trail. So you go through the walk and you get to see the scenery and everyone's kind of sharing and talking, and we're realizing that we're not alone. When we get back to our starting point, that's the time where we're wrapping up and saying our goodbyes, and we're going to have some refreshments and then make plans for the next year.
Yes, because it's not like you start thinking about putting this thing together in September for a
Right.
November walk. This is a year-long process.
It's true. We start planning for the next year right away. If I see you there, don't be surprised if I'm grabbing you and asking you if you want to join our planning committee.
So now everyone can say they've been warned.
Yes.
Something that you just said made me realize someone could be listening today and they are in that place where you were, that they have a family member that they are taking care of, and they just did not know that there were any resources available. They just assumed that this is their job and they have to come home at lunch, they have to leave work early, they have to make special changes in and around their homes if that family member is living with them, and that it's just a burden that they're carrying themselves. Having access to these resources helps them lighten that burden, and in some cases realize it's not even a burden at all. It's a labor of love.
Yes, it's definitely a labor of love, but one that you have to constantly remind yourself of the reason why you want to have a community around you is because that community can help you remember that it is a labor of love. Like for my mother-in-law, she was the one that helped me when I had my first baby. But then at the end, it becomes hard to remember that part of her. And I had to keep reminding myself. Every time she kept accusing me of stealing her purse, I'm like, that's the woman that helped you when you came from home from the hospital and didn't know how to change a diaper. All right. So it's nice to have people around you where you can be like, all right, I'm not in this alone. There's other people that are doing this, and this is my loved one, or this is my family, and I'm doing this out of love.
I just wanted to throw in our website, alz.org. That's where our resources are, where our support groups are, where the updates for research are. Even if you do think mom, dad, or grandpa, grandma just are acting different, you can look into those warning signs of Alzheimer's and dementia and be one step ahead. But alz.org is our main site.
I have a conversation coming up next week with some reps from the brain injury connections of the Shenandoah Valley, and they were talking about traumatic brain injury and very similar thing that caregivers are isolating themselves. Those with the injury isolate themselves, but I think there are a ton of friends, family, and coworkers that maybe I know that you're going through this and I want to do something to be able to help, or I don't know what questions to ask, and I don't want to offend you by saying, hey, can you do XYZ? This is also a great way. Come to the walk around, check out the resources, and educate yourself so that you feel more comfortable talking to that coworker who's taking care of a friend or a family member with Alzheimer's.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I would like to encourage everyone that if you know someone who is a caregiver, to reach out to them because it is one of the toughest jobs out there. And like you said earlier, a labor of love, but you start to forget that. So reach out and say, hey, how are you? I think just doing that is going to make someone's day, just make them feel like a human again.
And I think a lot of the times people aren't saying that they are a caregiver. They aren't saying that they're caring for someone with dementia or Alzheimer's. And we see that 1 in 2 people, so half of the population, has a connection to Alzheimer's or dementia, whether it's your grandpa or grandma, mom, dad, aunt, and uncle. We have so many people. So even just saying that you're going to this event or that there is a walk coming up, it might connect the right person and connect them in the right way of feeling less alone in their journey.
This is ultimately a fundraiser. We talked about that a few minutes ago. And sometimes people are like, yeah, I don't know. I get a little nervous asking people for money. But being able to make a post on your personal Facebook page that says, hey, I'm participating in this walk. If you want to give, here's the link. But that also then spreads that word. That lets somebody who's in your Facebook circle of friends see that there's an organization that maybe they wouldn't have seen otherwise. So don't feel so guilty about asking someone to support you as you're walking, and think of it more of, hey, I am helping someone know about an organization that they may need and didn't know existed.
Yes, that's a great way to get these resources out. And I've had people ask me, how is it free to register? Those that maybe are not in a position to put down money to be a part of the walk, I just let them know that that's why I fundraise so hard. And that's why I'm going out and getting sponsors so that they can just be there. So if money is what's standing in your way to come out to the walk, I urge you just register and just come. Don't let that bother you. And that's why we have the amazing sponsors that we have. So you can come out and thank them and just register. Like I said, it's for free. And Janet, I also wanted to give a 1-800 phone number. And this is another thing that our money gets raised for is this 1-800 hotline that if anyone just wants to vent, or maybe you need resources, or you're seeing signs, but you're not sure if it is Alzheimer's or dementia, just whatever it is, you can call this phone number and get connected to a person, a human that can talk to you. But it's 1-800-272-3900. And like Emily said, the website is alz.org.
I think that is so fantastic because so often what happens is you go to the doctor's appointment with your loved one and you're told this is what we think it is. You get that diagnosis. And then 2 or 3 days later, suddenly you have 20 questions that you didn't think to ask there in that moment. And now maybe you're hesitant to call the doctor back up. Please trust me when I say do not Google it because Dr. Google does not always have the right answers. This is a great resource to be able to call this number and say, hey, we just got this diagnosis and they said this, but I don't know what that means. You can get those answers from people who are professionals who are going to give you the right information.
Yeah, you're going to want to use these resources because coming from someone that's been a caregiver, there was no way to talk to the doctor because I was already trying to get either my dad or my mother-in-law to the doctor, persuading them with whatever it is. Oh, you're going to just have a chat with your best friend. I had to come up with something. And then to get them home, there was no asking the doctor my own personal questions. So that can be hard as a caregiver. So these resources, that phone number, that website can become your hope.
Shalini, thank you for taking the time today to give me all of the details. I hope you have a wonderful sunny Saturday morning and that you have more people than the trail can hold for the Walk to End Alzheimer's.
Thank you so much. And again, we really appreciate you having us on your show. This is such an honor.
Emily, thank you also for taking the time and reaching out to me to say, hey, can we talk about this a little bit? I think it's an important topic and maybe we should have you back on more often just to do some more education in the future.
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for your time. We're so excited for November 1st. And thank you again for supporting this.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.